Welcome back to a brand new Alien Earth spoiler review here on Max Talks Movies. My name is Max Dinnenberg. As I said, I'm breaking down today episode 5 of Alien Earth in space, no one, dot, dot, dot. So if you're new guys to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and ring that bell for notifications. I do movie reviews, TV show reviews, out of theater reactions. Every Monday do a box office breakdown show, as well as other movie franchise rankings. So please subscribe and ring the bell if you're new. Comment down below. What are your thoughts on Alien Earth Episode 5? Is this your favorite, least favorite episode of the series? Any bold predictions for the final 3 episodes of the series? We'd love to hear your thoughts, guys, down in the comments. So please like the video, subscribe, and let's get started talking about Alien Earth. Again, once again, 2 things. One, sorry that I was not able to cover episode 4 last week. I thought, and still as that was my least favorite episode of the series. That's not why I didn't cover it. I was preparing. I also am a pro wrestling content creator, writer, and someone who covers pro wrestling. And it was my first night being credentialed, going to a show. So I just wanted to take the whole day, prepare, make sure I was all set. So I didn't want to really, I wanted to just solely focus on making sure for the week of wrestling coverage I was going to do, I could really, really focus up. And that started on Wednesday. That's why I did some videos last week, but I skipped out on Peacemaker and Alien Earth last week. I just didn't have time those nights to get reviews out the next day for those projects. Like Tuesday night, I didn't have time to watch Alien. And then if I miss a couple days, then I just kind of feel like we're kind of past the window. Sorry again. And also, hopefully you guys enjoy my new haircut. Hopefully you guys enjoy it down in the comments section. So Alien Earth episode 5 was a what happened on the ship episode. In the very first episode of this series, we see the ship that crashes into Earth. And we meet like the crew for like the first 2 or 5 minutes of the episode. And then we kind of get like shaky moments of things that happened. We see Morrow leaving the ship while the other crew members died. But we still never really realized what happened on that ship. And obviously, from my opinion, by the way, especially with this episode, Morrow is easily the strongest character, in my opinion, on this series. Very good performance from Babu Sise, hope I'm saying his name right, who plays Morrow, being the cyborg, but obviously he's not a human, with a robot technically with a human brain in it. He is part human. This was a person who had a child, lived on this planet, had a very close relationship with Yutani herself. And that makes him a very interesting character because all the synthetics in the Alien franchise obviously are made and are designed for the company. Always have been, always will be in this franchise, especially with Ash in the first Alien. And most of the synthetics are there to serve the company. And that's why they can see the crew as expendable. But now, yes, this crew on this ship has already a synthetic who is there doing his thing. But it's really interesting where a cyborg who has personal feelings, yes, he's very locked in and vindicated and passionate about the cause. He's not programmed to do so. He's doing it on his own merits because of his close relationship with Yutani, because he said in towards the end of the episode how he was just a nobody who was found on the streets by Yutani, and he said that he needs to fight for everything for her. And another key difference between this film, this episode, and the first Alien movie is in the first Alien movie, the Nostromo were on I think, 10 or 11-month mission. This mission for this crew is a 65-year mission. They are basically giving up their entire lives. Now, yes, Ripley eventually, without her control, gave up her entire life because even though she thought she was going on a 10-month mission, when she's floating in the space and towards the end of Alien, and she wakes up in Aliens, she finds that her kid has already grown up, been an old person, and has died. But again, she wasn't signing up for a mission like that. These people were. I think it's always interesting too, how much would the company actually pay if any of the humans actually survived this mission? It was brought up both in Alien and in this episode. debating about how much money people would be making when they get back to Earth. Find that all to be very interesting elements here. Now, this is basically a murder mystery episode, kind of, a whodunit, because Morrow is awakened, and we see we are 17 days away from reaching Earth. And Morrow is awoken to the fact that there's all these creatures that are out, there's a fire in the ship, navigation is off. But it's not a coincidence how this all happens. Clearly, there is someone on the ship that they do not know yet who is, for some reason, putting the ship as a missile, as an arrow to Earth, not just as a regular ship that can fly in. Now, I will say, for my opinion, the reason why I didn't love this episode at all was I found every human character on this episode to be completely incompetent. And this is a 65-year-old mission where these are supposed to be very smart people, especially the doctors. There are two doctors on this ship who are trying to bring back these specimens back to Earth. And yes, does Weyland-Yutani expect all of the crew to make it back? Of course not. But I don't think they're expecting these people to be so incompetent that none of them survive and they just keep the things to themselves. Because again, the characters in the first Alien were actually quite smart characters, and they found out the hard way. Characters in Aliens were very smart people. Alien Romulus, for the most part, had very smart characters on that in that film. And here, other than Morrow, these are all complete idiots, in my opinion. So you have the one lady who is the new captain because Zaverny, who's played by Risha Morjani, she was sleeping with the captain. The captain gets the face hugger, so he's technically alive, but he's really going to die. So she becomes the captain. She is very emotional and hesitant about all the situation. I thought the best scene from the human perspective is when Zaverny becomes the captain and wants to tell Mother that she's now the captain. She's making all the directions. And before, Zaverny says, can we just get rid of the specimens? So in order for us to make a safe landing on Earth. And this is when Mother says the top priority is the cargo. The cargo is above everything else. And if you don't feel that way, the security officer can take control of the ship, which again is Morrow. So obviously trying to twist her into, and she says acknowledge. I will say it was really hard for me. I was laying, as I watch this very late at night. So when I was watching it, I could not see the text. I'd had like pause, get up from where I was sitting, and go to the TV to make sure what Mother was typing to Zaverny. Don't know if that's a problem for anyone else, and I usually can see everything perfectly clear on my TV, but I had a very hard time distinguishing what the actual computer was saying. But I thought once I understood what it was saying, it was a very fascinating scene where she thinks that the people are the top priority for the company, but then she realizes quickly that the people are the most expendable thing on the ship, and it's the specimens that are not. But on this investigation, he finds Bronsky, hope I'm saying his name right, the character's name Bronsky, who is the character who is, oh, sorry, Petrovich, excuse me. Petrovich is the one who's actually working with Boyd Cavalier to crash the ship in order for those people. So it's been, the big twist is it was Cavalier's plan all along to take over the ship and to bring the specimens back to him. And the question is, how does he know Yutani's mission? How does he know how many specimens, what the specimens are? Did he plan to create these bodies for this mission specifically? We're obviously going to cover a lot more on what Cavalier is doing here, but this is his plan trying to overthrow Weyland-Yutani. Now, again, when we get to the Alien movies, the only company we really know about is Weyland-Yutani. So how, in a span of 2 years, does Cavalier and this whole company kind of disappear, go away from the main conversation? I think that will be another interesting thing in these final 3 episodes. But as I said, the characters are completely incompetent. The one female doctor, she lets the tadpole out into the drink, and then she lets the eyeball thing go out. If any of these characters had a brain, this plane would be okay. But all of the human characters on this ship are such idiots. And it just takes a lot of the intensity out of it because in this situation, you don't want to root for these people to die. You want to feel the intensity of these creatures being out and the xenomorph being on. And yes, do you want to see the xenomorph in action killing people? Yes, but you don't be like, oh, like clapping and hoping these characters die. I found myself not giving a single crap about these human characters to a point where I didn't mind any of them dying, kind of rooting for them to die at certain points. And that, I think, is what was missing about the episode is, yes, even though you know, based on episode one, these characters die, it's still, for me, one where you still want to feel the intensity of, even if you know they die, you want to be so nervous about how emotional it would be if they died. And here, I just didn't feel that emotion because these characters are such idiots like the characters in Prometheus, where it just pulled me out. Now, I like Prometheus a lot more. I'm a big fan of Prometheus, but that's my biggest flaw of that movie is how stupid some of the smartest people in the world are. And in this situation, what pulled me out of this episode the most was how stupid the characters were on the show. So Moro escapes, he goes back down, and that is where also I thought the xenomorph action was really cool here. We got the same POV kind of shot from Alien 3, where we cut back and forth between the xenomorph running and then seeing the xenomorph's POV as he's chasing the humans. Really cool stuff, much better executed than it was in Alien 3 from obviously a CGI and practical perspective. But as Moro goes back, his mission is obviously he still wants to do this for Yutani, even though this is Yutani's granddaughter now. I just think the big thing for him is he will finally realize at some point that he is being used. Because obviously they wouldn't put him on the ship. Um, they were also kind of thinking of him probably as expendable as well, but in his mind, he's there because of the friendship with Yutani. So it's going to be interesting when he realizes that he was being used the whole time by this family. I think that's what the big story arc here he's going to use. Um, He's going to use slightly to get into the compound clip. But at some point, he is going to realize either Cavalier is going to tell him, but that Yutani used him the entire time. So this, for me, is a mixed bag of an episode. It felt like the perfect throwback to the first Alien movie with the practical sets, the ship looking just like the first Alien movie, xenomorph action in this episode. So we haven't had xenomorph action since episode 2. And that element of it, I found this, again, more enjoyed it than disliked it. I just thought the characters were so incompetent. It just took a lot of the emotion and the intensity out of the episode. So what are your guys' thoughts on Alien Earth episode 5? Let me know down in the comments, like the video, subscribe, and guys, I'll see you guys in another video very soon.